If we're not at a Disney park, we're dreaming about being there, and a cup of Joffrey's Coffee Disney Blend helps. But what about when you're at a Disney park? The Joffrey's Disney Kiosk and Restaurant Locator will make sure you never miss out. Whether it's a cool drink on a hot summer vacation or a great cup of coffee at a Disney signature restaurant, Joffrey's has you covered. Check it out at joffreys.com.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
The body of water that you see to the right of our forward motion is the Seven Seas Lagoon. The Seven Seas Lagoon is a man-made creation that took 3 years and the removal of millions of cubic yards of earth to complete.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott.
I'm Bob Collar.
This is ResortLoop.com. Bob.
Tim.
This is one of our favorite shows of the month.
I know. I've got a This Day in Disney History.
Before we get to the DVC Roundtable, you have a day in Disney history?
Wait, we're doing the DVC Roundtable?
I know.
I thought it was just the This Day in Disney History.
The This Day in Disney History show? That's a short show.
That would be a good show. Anyway, yes, we're going to do the Roundtable. We have the usual suspects, minus one. Today.
True.
But here's This Day in Disney History. Are you guys ready for this? You know what?
Yeah,
introduce the Roundtable, Tim. First.
Joining us, we have Emily Hansa-Hicks.
Well, hello, everyone.
Joe Quattrochi.
Greetings, everybody, from the birthplace of NASCAR tonight.
Oh, my.
Oh.
And Brad Coates.
Greetings, Disney Nation.
There you go.
And Rebecca sends along her best. She couldn't make it tonight, but we look forward to having her on another show very soon.
Absolutely. So I wanted you guys to be involved in this This Day in Disney History because it is a DVC This Day in Disney History.
Oh, cool.
2011. At approximately 6:30 a.m. Hawaii time. The doors to the, what's the name of the lobby, Brad?
Oh, man.
The lobby.
The Olani lobby.
Maka'ala?
Yeah, that sounds right. Maka'ala.
Maka'ala lobby of Aulani open to the first guests.
Nice.
Who came at 6:30 a.m.? That's what I want to know.
6:30. I'd be there at 6:30.
Absolutely.
We're rope dropping the lobby.
Early flight.
Like rope drop in Pop Century. See?
That's right.
You can rope drop a resort, apparently.
Gotta get a fast pass.
So, yeah. Hard to believe that was 6 years ago.
Wow.
It's still not sold out.
It
Six.
feels
Wow.
like just yesterday.
Sorry, low blow. I'm sorry, low blow. I can't wait to see it next year, so I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait till they have direct flights from Ohio to Hawaii. I'm just kidding. That would be horrible. Can you think how long would that be?
Oh, and hey, before we get started, I just want special prayers out to everybody in Texas. Hope everybody's doing okay after Harvey, blowing through. I hope things have settled down for everybody over there. So
absolutely,
we're thinking about you guys. So, okay, Tim, what are we going to talk about?
Well, we're going to have some news stories, and I believe Joe is going to start us off.
Sounds good. So we had mentioned in the previous month's show that DVC is doing a special ticket. So last month we said that ticket offers for members for them to take advantage of. There's two different Walt Disney World ticket offers. One of them was including at least a 25% off purchase of the Disney Platinum Plus annual pass. There was also a 7-day Magic Your Way ticket for the price of a 5-day ticket. So if you've got like a gold pass, like myself and Jen have a gold pass, before this expires, we're probably going to upgrade ours. You might as well take advantage and have access to everything at Wild World of Sports or, why is it the one golf course, the Nine-Hole golf course? Bob, help me out here. What's the Nine-Hole?
What's the name of that one?
The walking one. I can't even.
Yeah.
That golf course. There you go.
Yeah. the golf course. Yeah.
Magnolia, Palm, or no?
No, it's not Palm Ray. It's the other one. It's Oak Trail, whatever it is.
Oak Trail. Yeah.
I'm off my game tonight, guys. So you'll get access to those kind of things as well. I know I went to a minor league baseball game last year with Justin Leeser, who's been on the show, and the tickets to the game were like $35. And if you had this annual pass, you can get into the events at ESPN's Wild World of Sports, I believe, that's included. So that might be something, that might pay for itself right there. So, and anytime Disney offers you something, a better value. I don't want to say free, but a better value or a discounted value. If you could take advantage of that, absolutely take advantage of it. So this is still going on. Both offers are available for purchase through January 3rd of 2018. So it's right before Marathon Week, which I kind of find funny. They stop it right when Marathon Weekend starts. So funny, right, how the days coincide there. But if you're down there for over the holiday weekend, and you might be down there, the following year, might as well go ahead and take advantage of this and upgrade your ticket and upgrade your annual pass. So it's still going on, folks. Take advantage.
And the platinum doesn't have the blackout dates, right? That the gold does.
No,
Correct.
It comes with the photo pass one. So it's pretty much everything.
Yeah, it pretty much has everything.
It's pretty much everything. Yeah. Does that include the water parks too, or no?
Yes.
It does include the water parks.
I say that.
What about Disney Quest? Sorry.
Oh, rest in peace, Disney Quest.
Yeah.
Right. Sad.
So
now the Platinum
still
Plus, the Platinum Plus right now is going for $779.
And so this is a 25% off that rate.
So 25% off of that is how much? Anybody got a calculator? I got a calculator. I got a calculator in front of me. I should 79.
Well, I got my notes.
It's
195
off. It's almost 194.75. So almost $200 off.
So that's
a heck of a deal.
That's about what a DVC Gold Pass goes for.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think that's about what I paid last year for the gold.
So yeah, but that's not $580. Bad. Yeah.
It says $559 plus tax is what we had last month talking about it.
Wow.
So actually, yeah. So
and it does include the water parks, Wide World of Sports, and Oak Trail Golf Course.
Okay, and definitely
$30 more. Yeah.
If you're gonna, we all know that this is not going to be around when Toy Story Land opens up, Star Wars Land opens up. You're not going to see these discounts right along.
Yeah, so, probably not. Yeah.
So take advantage of it now. If you're going to get an annual pass and you're going to constantly renew it, like a lot of us do every year, if you're a DVC member or you go down a lot, take advantage of this at least once and have access to this other stuff because they're not going to have this when everything else opens up. So that's this guy's opinion, at least.
Yep, you're exactly right. Yeah. Yep.
Sweet.
Who's next, Tim?
I got Brad.
Yep. So, in typical DVC fashion, as we start to head into the holidays and stuff, they start having special parties for members. And in that fashion, Disneyland Resort members and their guests are going to be able to enjoy a Haunted Mansion-inspired party on October 31st from 3 to 5 p.m. inside of the Grand Californian Hotel in the Sequoia Ballroom. Note says that if attending families who are welcome to wear their Halloween costumes will enjoy DJ dance party, carnival-style games with prizes, face painters. In fact, I'm thinking about volunteering for that so that I can help people paint their faces. They'll really enjoy that. Anyway, complimentary character photo, along with, of course, Halloween dessert, snacks, and non-alcoholic beverages. And the cost is only $25 per person. Wow. So. But as always with these things, man, you got to move quick. Reservations are required. They'll come available on August 31st, and they will not be around long. Traditionally, all these parties book out really, really fast.
Yeah, set your alarm.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't want to forget about that for a day.
And they got something going at Walt Disney World too. How about you? Got that, Joe?
I got it. So I'm a huge fan of the contemporary. So Brad gave me this story because it involves a contemporary. But at Walt Disney World, members and their guests can channel their quote-unquote inner scoundrel during the DVC pirate-themed parties on October 31st, and they're going to take place at Disney's Contemporary Resort at the Ballroom of the Americas. So that'd be the second floor, I guess. Those are going to take place from 3 to 5 p.m. and then later on at 7 to 9 p.m. In a contemporary. Costume and non-costume families alike, so you don't have to dress up if you don't have a costume with you. But you will receive a Buccaneer booty bag to fill with treats and treasures. I know, a little booty for you. You can meet a Walt Disney World ambassador. Don't know which one that will be. Don't know what you would ask them or I guess what you would do with them, but they'll be there, the Walt Disney World ambassadors, and enjoy a DJ dance party, a pirate themed selfie station, carnival style games with prizes, face painters, and a complimentary character photo along with Halloween desserts, snacks, and non-alcoholic beverages. The cost of this is $25 per person. I don't know. I haven't heard of this. Might be $25 per child as well. But however, if you think about it, if you're there on Halloween down in Disney World and you don't have a ticket to Mickey's Not So Scary that night, because that is the most expensive night and it's the hardest ticket to get for that night, this is a great alternative. If you've got a family where, you can have your kids dress up, there'll be a DJ, they can dance around, you're going to get a photo, you're going to meet some characters. It sounds like a really cool face painters, something that if you want to do between 7 and 9, you could tire them out and they'll probably sleep good at night. So it sounds like a really cool alternative. Even if they charge the kids $25 a person, family $400, you've got your Halloween night covered, you can be on property. It sounds like this sounds like a pretty cool option for you. Reservations are required and are currently available through Ember Services. So I'm sure, they'll have 2 separate sets of reservations, one for the afternoon slot and then one for the evening slot. Like Brad said, these things go pretty quickly, but I think this sounds like a really cool, even for the price. I know some people might say, well, it's DVC, you should get it for free. We're members. Even this isn't too bad of a price for Disney World. And I think this is actually a pretty cool option for a family of 4 or 5. And Emily, I mean, if you were down there, would this be something that would, appeal to you and your husband and your kids? I mean, is this something that would maybe be up your guys' alley instead of going to the Halloween party, maybe doing something like this?
Absolutely. And I bet it's going to be less crowded and less crazy. So, I mean, that would be perfect, especially if everybody doesn't have full length of stay tickets and everything. I think it sounds fun, and little kids love face painting so much, and you're not going to get that, I don't think, without a fee at Disney World itself, even if you went in for I've never been to any of the hard ticket events, but I don't think they have face painters there, do they, for the Not So Scary or anything?
I haven't been, but
yeah, I've never seen it listed as like a perk, but I mean, it sounds great. Also the price is definitely not a deterrent, because if you can get, you said there were snacks there too, right?
Yeah, it says snacks, non-alcoholic beverages. It says a character photo. Now that could be misleading. I don't know if it's a photo of a character already pre-printed or there will be characters there. So take that with a grain of salt. They hand you a headshot. Exactly. So
you think that's a joke, but our kids got headshots of Chip and Dale when they went to the Lilo's Playhouse one time. Signed headshots. I thought it was hysterical.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Now, just to give you an idea too, if you're at Walt, this is just Walt Disney World, not Disneyland, but if you're at Walt Disney World, a 1 adult ticket for the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party going to cost you $115.
Yeah, on Halloween, it's the most expensive night.
On that night, yeah, and then $110 for the kids. So, your
whole family could go for the price of 1 ticket.
I know it's only 3 hours, or 2 hours, 3 to 5, 7 to 9. But I mean, and it looks like you're going to get some stuff and probably a lot of candy and all that stuff.
It seems to me like it seems to me like I mean, it's not some of the bigger parties, but if you compare it to other events that Disney has put on that have the similar kind of amounts of things that they add in, because it's all about they add in this, you can figure it'll add this much more money. It's at least 2 to 3 times more expensive than $25.
Right. And keep in mind now, right? This is just going to be for
it's just
DVC members,
right?
But the DVC members that purchase through Disney now, right?
Mm-hmm. Direct,
right. So
that's correct.
Not the resale stuff, right? Okay.
Yeah, that would be correct.
Very good.
Wow.
I know what Matt would like about it would be that he would think that it was less crowded, probably. So I think he would probably think Mickey's Not So Scary sounds like a nightmare, especially if it's the busiest night of the year. Sellout night.
That's a good point, Emily, because now you're talking about maybe just letting your kids go in and you guys kind of hanging out by the door, to make sure they don't slip by you. And, you're not having to wrangle them like you would at the entire theme park. So.
And Emily, the most important part is, think about it, the Ballroom of the Americas at the Contemporary is right in the middle between the Grand Canyon Concourse and the lobby. Parents, you are a short escalator ride away from the Wave Bar.
I was totally going to say that.
If you need a drink, during this event, you can either take the escalator downstairs or you can take it upstairs and get a drink on the Grand Canyon Concourse in the market up there. So
I feel like Rebecca would support this plan.
Absolutely. Yep.
Very good. Very good.
Sweet. Emily, what other story do you have today?
All right. Well, I actually have two for you, but
Nice.
I'm going to start with the easy one. On September 10th, Member Services is going to extend their hours about, I think, an hour and a half or 2 hours, both Monday through Friday and on the weekends. Right now, Member Services is not open late, but starting September 10th, it's going to be open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. So those are some pretty long hours, and I think our West Coast friends will appreciate that as well. Keep in mind, you can still book an hour earlier if you go online, if you're trying to make reservations, because online reservations open up at 8 a.m. Eastern for whatever your booking window is. And then the second piece I have for you is that the DVC Epcot Lounge, another one of those perks, it's a free lounge in Epcot. It is open through 2018 now, and it was brought in during 2016 as part of the 25th celebration of DVC. And now, I guess, 180,000 members have used the lounge, including us. And it's open from 10 to 6 every day. They have beverages, snacks, and chargers. They also have really comfortable seating areas. And I kind of remember, correct me or confirm me if I'm right, I guess I should say, if you guys have been there at all. But they had video game consoles. I want to say that there were kids playing video games.
Yep, they did. Yep.
Okay, good. So I did not make that up.
You're not nuts.
Yeah, it was like a really. Now when we go into the park, we want to wander around the World Showcase, and that's pretty much why we go to Epcot, Soaring, or the World Showcase. So we didn't stay too long there. It didn't have a lot for us, and it was very every table was taken when we went. But I think a lot of members, if every table is taken, that means a lot of people are using it. So I think this is a really cool perk. I don't think it costs them tons to keep a big sort of spacious room open. And I think it is perceived as a really nice perk. I wonder how much it costs them day to day. But it is going to be open 10 to 6. I don't remember if I said that. But those are some pretty decent hours. And if you are looking for a cool beverage on a hot day and a place to sit and charge, take a hour off, let the kids kind of relax or run around or play a video game. It's definitely a nice little stop.
Yeah.
They're probably keeping this open because of the 35th anniversary with Epcot coming up, and I'm also thinking too, they're probably just keep pushing this until Figment's Fate comes down and they do something with Inside Out. So they're probably just saying, well, we'll just keep that's just my guess, that they're probably just gonna we'll just keep it up there, and then if they if they eventually do the Inside Out, which is rumored to replace Figment, that's probably when they'll shut this thing down, unfortunately. But let's enjoy it while it's there.
Right.
Until they have something better to do with the space, or somebody's going to pay them more for it, make it some kind of tie-in with another. Because I wonder if DVC actually pays. You know how they pay each
rent
other?
on it?
Pay themselves, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if they're paying for that use. And if they don't have anybody else who wants to pay for the use, I bet that the rent is cheap.
Right.
You know, I'm surprised they never did with this space is, and I love it as a lounge, trust me, I do. But it's so cool. It would be a cool place for a small little restaurant up there.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I know there's no kitchen. I get that. There's so many logistical problems, but that would just be kind of really cool. Got some great views up there.
Or a wedding, a wedding venue, a reception venue.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Do they do receptions at the Odyssey still?
You could rent it out, I think, besides
Because they use it for food and wine, right?
Where they get set up for catering kind of things.
Which still, I scratch my head why that is not a craft beer world all year round.
Seriously, we'd be there a lot.
So I don't know.
Well, this is good news about the lounge. When I think I believe I was trying to look for it, but I couldn't find it. I believe the Chase Lounge is not going to be open this year during the holidays. They used to have that Chase Visa lounge, Chase Bank Lounge that you could go to. So, the fact that they're hanging on to the DVC lounge is at least something positive for folks.
As soon as I get a Chase card, that's when they take it away.
And say it was for any Chase card too. You didn't have to have the Disney Chase card. I had like a United Airlines card, and like they were like, "Oh, yeah, come on up," and it was nice.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm hearing that's going away, and I'm not exactly sure the timeline. I was trying to find that, and I couldn't find that. So.
Hey, let me ask you guys about the member services on the phone. Do you guys normally use the phone, or do you do stuff online? What's the best way to use that?
So I've done both. I normally book online, and sometimes I'll book with just one party member, and then I'll email them with the other things. But if there's any mistakes, or if I need to do something tricky, or I have a question, I call. So
when I have to combine my two contracts, and since I have different use years, and if I have to do anything like that, then I always call. But it's just straightforward. It's just simple to do it online. It's really pretty.
Yeah, and just like you, Brad, like when I banked my points, I screwed up the first year, and they were awesome and fixed it. I always call them up to bank my points just to make sure I'm rolling over the right amount, and in the right contract. I also call them up for when I'm booking spa appointments, when I'm booking tours. Like my wife and I are going to be doing one of like the Keys to the Kingdom tour, because it's just easier to get like the discount and stuff all rolled in there. So when I'm doing those kind of things, I will call up member services. Some of the other things I do online, but this might not seem like a big deal, like, oh, they're extending the hours by like an hour and a half. And for our West Coast friends, it's a huge deal. But even for us, like, you'll sit down at the dinner table with your spouse or a family member, and you'll discuss things. And you're like, oh, let me call DVC up real quick, and they're closed. It's like either you do it during the workday or you don't.
Right.
So this couple hours is actually, it's a big deal. It's a very big convenience for a lot of people. So I'm kind of glad to see them, extend this out for not only our friends on the West Coast, but also for everybody here on the East Coast, where it's just, you don't have to do it during your workday.
Right. Oh, another thing you can call member services for is to make room requests. So I've done that a lot too. Calling them and giving them information about, like, say you're staying at Animal Kingdom and you're really hoping to get like a little bit of a view of Savannah, even though you didn't book that way. They know exactly what's put in there. Or if you're going to Grand Floridian and you want a fireworks view, but you book standard, the reps there usually know exactly sort of which rooms have which views, so they can help you out that way and put in notes that say what you'd like. Or if you want to make sure, like our kids like to take baths, so generally speaking, we don't like the handicapped accessible ones because the baths aren't really, and in our experience, I think in the studios, just had a shower, at least in one of them. So we usually request that it's not an accessible room.
Okay. Hey, Emily,
we like to be inaccessible.
Emily, let me ask you a question, Emily, and I don't need to get off the track here. And Tim and Bob, I apologize for this, but I put a poll out on Looper Nation Live about what everybody thinks about the soaps and taking away the soaps. So let me ask you a question, since this is like a DVC show. Do you think that you're going to do this in the DVC units, or do you think this is going to be separate because our dues maybe pay for those soaps and not the right? You know what I'm saying? Because right now they're trying with the moderates at Port Orleans, it sounds like. But do you think that this is going to be coming to the DVC units, or are we maybe a little bit separate because, like I said, we're on a different budgets. I guess we're different.
Like they're not going to save money necessarily by doing that.
I wonder what
your thoughts that's
were
a good
about
question.
You and Brad thought about that. I hope that they don't go to that, but
right.
I mean, what do you guys think?
I feel like because DVC pays for their own toiletries essentially, and if you want to have extras, you have to pay for them by asking for them, and then they sell you another package of them. Since we are paying for it with our dues, they're theoretically not going to save any money by not providing them to us or putting them in a more renewable way. I think and then I think they would get probably more owner feedback if they went that way. And so depending on how many people felt that was really not good, they might have to go backwards. On the other hand, it is like an ecological choice, so maybe they'll be inclined to go for that reason. In fact, this might be a good barometer of whether or not they're making the choice financially or for the environment. But it's a good question, Joe. And I think if it's successful at the other resorts, maybe they will. but they don't have the same kind of incentive since we do pay for it.
True.
What do you think, Brad?
I agree with most of that. The only other thing I would say is that I think they might swing that direction simply for convenience for resetting rooms for clients and stuff. For that type part of it too, for consideration. But I think you got it right. I think they'll watch the barometer, and they'll see what happens with the other resorts. And if they get a lot of nasty feedback, they may scuttle it. But if they get good feedback, then they may consider it. So we'll see.
I doubt they're going to take a couple dollars off the price of the moderates.
No, they
won't.
I'm gonna go out on a limb right now and say, no money reduction.
I doubt they're going to discount.
In fact, they're going to charge you more for these really cool new dispensers.
Mm-hmm.
So.
I'm so torn because theoretically, in a DVC unit, it would be an advantage because you'd have more product.
Yeah,
and for a 5-person family, like they set it up for the same amount of people, and if we are staying just for like a portion of the week or something, and we're not getting a sort of the reboot in the middle of the week, we definitely will run out of the toiletries. We have we bring shampoo and conditioner. So, I mean, we will have more shampoo. We would be able to not use our owner locker to put shampoo and conditioner. On the other hand, many of the comments people make about like people could put weird things in the dispensers or something, that does sort of occur to me.
Yes.
Sometimes.
And here's the other thing.
Yeah.
And this is such a huge tangent from DVC.
No, it is. But I love it.
Here's the other thing. If they're going to refill those things every day, right? I mean, it doesn't look like there's any kind of gauge on there saying how much is in there.
Right.
But if they have to refill them every day, what's to keep you from going to a discount store, Walmart, Target, whatever, and getting those little plastic bottles and filling your own bottle up, sealing it up? I mean, unless you're flying, then you know that's an issue. But filling that thing up,
2-ounce bottle.
now I'm walking away with 3 gallons worth of H2O product instead of the little tiny, dispenser that the housekeeping isn't going to give me a whole bunch of them anyway.
That is
true.
Know. Although they're not going to refill them every day for us, I'm sure. But for the hotels, I imagine that it's going to be harder. We'll have to see what they decide with this, because I imagine that it takes more man hours to go refill a dispenser than it does to just plop a couple extra bottles.
Right.
Now, unless they take the bottles and have them refilled centrally, if they just like switch out the bottles, but still they have to open up the dispenser thing, shut it again, like lock it back up.
Somebody's got
it. Seems like a pain.
Reality is they're probably not going to refill them.
It seems really
cheap bottles for quite a while.
I don't know, man. I just stayed at a Hampton Inn for 3 nights, and I got brand new shampoo every day. So it's like,
Hampton can afford it.
Joe, stop bragging, okay? Because
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's right.
I'm sure there's people screaming at their radios right now saying it's shampoo. Who cares?
Right. Tim, get us back on track. Get this train back.
I'm sorry. I hate the shampoo story. I just hate the fact that it has to become a story.
I'm so conflicted. I'm really conflicted because when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, that's clever." And when we just went on a cruise, and when we went on the cruise, we did the rainforest room spa thing.
Yes,
where you get a pass. It was so amazing. But basically they don't have the H2O products in that spa. They have I forget the other brand, but they have some other brand in there, but it's in the dispensers in the shower. So I didn't hesitate to use it there because that felt natural, like a gym shower. But if they had that in our stateroom too, I mean, you know what? Honestly, I feel like everybody's going to adapt and everybody's going to forget about it. That's what I think is going to happen. My prediction.
I don't know.
I'll just be like, okay.
I don't like the fact you're using the environment as an excuse, and then you have the Speedway over at the Tomorrowland churning out carbon monoxide.
I do agree with you, Tim. I wish they would just be like, honestly, this is about the shareholders. So,
what would Dawn think about this?
It happens to be green.
Oh, fresh one for the hair. Shampoo gate will continue.
Yes. It does creep me out to think about the gross things people could do, but I'm not going to talk about it or think about it.
I think all of us should just revolt and not shower at Disney anymore.
There you go. Yes.
Teach them a lesson.
Right. I think we have some bulk Pantene in our owner's locker. So if you're desperate, I've never done anything creepy to it. It is like 5 years old now. But,
Brad, your theory goes completely against the Resort Loop motto, which is just be nice. If you smell bad, you're not being nice.
That's true. Don't wear your Resort Looper T-shirt if you don't shower.
That's right.
There you go.
right.
You need to represent. Joe,
Get really close to people in those buses.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Hey, Joe, what do you got for another news story?
All right, so for our fifth story tonight, Disney's Polynesian villas and bungalows added the last of its accommodations to the DVC, signaling that the resort will soon sell out the last of its available points. So pretty much the little remaining left over, in the inventory has finally been put on the market. So right now, all 20 bungalows and all 360 studios of the Polynesian are available for DVC members to book using points. And this was found out from the declaration filed with the Orange County, Florida Comptroller on August 8th of this year. The declaration indicates that the Polynesian is getting close to being quote-unquote sold out. And through August 1st of this year, Disney has sold almost 83% of the Polynesian's approximate 4 million total points. It's crazy to think that the Polynesian alone has 4 million points. By regulation, Disney must retain a minimum of 2% of the resort's points, meaning that it has about 608,000 points it could sell to the general public at that time. And those are always the rooms that we see on My Disney Experience when you're going to book for cash. In reality, though, the number of points Disney has available to sell is quite less because of the hundreds of pending sales awaiting final closure. So, because these are technically, properties. Disney will likely announce that the Polynesian is sold out. So within the next couple of months, you're probably going to see something, on DVCnews.com or even here on Resort Loop. DVC Roundtable will say, hey, the Polynesian's sold out. So even though we always say, too, is even though Resort is technically sold out, there's always points you could purchase from Disney or on the resale market. So if you want to get your points directly from Disney, this might be your opportunity to be like, we might need to get on this now and do it.
I can attest. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same. In the past, Disney has discounted offerings and discounts on sold out resorts, but I don't really see this happening here at the Poly. A friend of mine from Mickey Dudes, Pat Giannetti, just bought another contract with the Poly. Pat, good job, buddy. So I know people are even adding on to their contracts. So this is not one I don't see them discounting points for. This is, in my opinion, I've said this before. I've said this on the Mickey Dudes podcast. The Polynesian is probably the best resort on property. Yeah. So they're not.
Grand Californian, when it was, because it has so few rooms, so it went to sold out status much quicker because it had so few availabilities. But long after they said it was sold out, they were still selling points, but they never had a discount. I know, I watched. Never.
Because they can still, if somebody wants out of their contract, they can still take those back.
Exactly. So, they have no incentive at that point.
And there's probably foreclosures, too, when people have taken out loans from Disney, unfortunately. I mean, that's just the way of the world. So
walk away from them.
And Joe, really, 4 million points isn't that much when you think the 20 bungalows took about 3 million. So.
Right.
I was going to say.
It just seems so big compared to my 180 that I have in my
Yeah, really.
You know what? I was thinking about that with those bungalows being so points heavy and thinking about all the people that bought in thinking, okay, well, maybe someday we'll stay in a bungalow or whatever. And how many of those are in these like giant sort of unrealistic units? And I know people who stayed in them for periods, but like the most DVC owners are not going to be booking bungalows. Yeah. So if you're thinking about it, like those points are all, it's going to be like a weird economic problem because all the people that purchased Polynesian, a bunch of those points are the bungalow points, and they're not going to be used for bungalows. I'm positive.
Because their studios are low points.
Right.
They're not high at all. So
which, by the way,
they bought a ton of points. They're going to go a lot of times in the studio.
Yeah, they're buying segments of the bungalows and then just not using them. So, and Joe, I'm going to have to disagree with you about Poly. And I know this is shocking.
Wait, being the best resort?
Yes, we stayed at the Poly, and my husband was so upset with it. It wasn't even funny.
Really?
Now, the people were great, and the whole grounds of the place is great, and we love going there. But he thought the rooms were, and I want to say we were in, oh shoot, what is it? The one that's the home of all the sharks. The island that's the home. Not Tuvalu.
Tokala?
Tarragona.
I don't have the list.
Something like that. It's the one by the Oasis. It's like the big long, whatever. Anyway, point is, he thought that the rooms, like, these have just been renovated into DVC studios, and he thought they were so beat up looking and so old looking. And I tried selling him, well, this is the look. It's like kitschy and like old school and retro.
It's funny.
It's
funny you said that, Emily. You're not the first person I've heard that from recently. That
the hallways are bad too.
And Jen and I are staying there the end of September. And this will be the first time we're staying in a DVC unit there. And this will be the first time I'm staying at the Polynesian since actually 1994. Now, I say the best resort. I mean, we should say it's the most popular resort. That's maybe I should say. But that's funny that you said it, because I have heard that from one or two other people recently the last couple of weeks, saying that the rooms were a little beat up. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen with my stay coming up in the end of September. We're super excited about it, but
it'll be fun. And I will say that the staff there was amazing, like blow your mind amazing. And of course, you've got like all the great stuff. We went to Captain Cook's. The pools are amazing. Like all the facilities are great.
The food's great. I mean,
yeah, there's nothing like the Polynesian for like the whole resort as a whole. But yeah, we stayed at the boardwalk afterwards, and after the cruise, and it was like night and day. The room was so nice. It was so perfectly, like, it was new looking. It was crazy. Like, I never expected that out of boardwalk, because last time we stayed there, it was older and it hadn't been refurbed. But this time it was like staying in a brand new resort, and the rooms were just spotless and huge, and like the Poly studio was just, it looked really beat up and dark and dingy.
Huh. Sure looking forward to my stay now. So.
No, you're going to have a blast. Just spend your time on the balcony.
I'm probably going to be sending a message, Emily's being like, darn it, you were right. Look at this.
Yeah, and you could totally, by the way, it's totally cool if people disagree, because I just want people to have a blast on vacation. So I don't like to be right. I was trying to talk Matt out of this opinion the whole time. Like, it's not bad. Are you kidding me? Look at this foliage. And like, but and it's so close, by the way, Lilo's Playhouse, huge Polynesian advantage. So you just walk the kids over to we used it, I want to say twice, and we were only there for like 4 days. So
there was the one thing I just realized, Emily, that I'm not actually happy with about the Polynesian is I'm running the Chicago Marathon, as you guys know, in October, beginning of October, and I have to do some of my long runs down at Disney. The fact that like the Polynesian, they have a couple empty spaces. They never put a workout facility in. That you have to go and use the Grand Floridians.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah,
I didn't think of that.
And that's the one that you're allowed to use. So your Magic Band will work at the Grand Floridian's workout room. But like I've used the one's contemporary, and that one's great. But I was like, the Polynesian doesn't have treadmills or a workout room. Like that's crazy. And and now that's such a big DVC resort, you'd think they would put something like that in, but I guess not.
Yeah, I totally tried to work out and couldn't find it. It was weird. I was like super stressed by that.
If you look at the map.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, Co-Captain.
I'm sensing something
here. I was totally practicing, Joe. I really was. I swear.
We'll see when January comes. So.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's going to be... are you doing Wine and Dine, by the way? Not to get off the rails.
No, I'm not. So
okay, well, I've got
just
that
got January
covered.
lined up, so...
Okay, well, you've got to do January, because I'm going to do Wine and Dine, so we'll just take turns on that one. So
sounds good.
Sorry for the Rocketeers moment, people. Sorry.
Speaking of the Rocketeers, our two co-captains on the DVC Roundtable.
We got a lot of buttons to hand out, too, so
that's
when we
right.
see you guys in the parks.
There you go.
Don't one shy. Other thing about the Poly, sorry to go so off the rails, but I feel like this is relevant. I think we talked about this, and maybe even I talked about it in one of the DVC roundtables prior, that they've opened Lilo's Playhouse during the day. So before it turns into a kids club at night, where it's like a babysitting kids club, they have it open for kids to play. And the day we checked in, before our room was ready, we hung out there with the kids for a couple hours. And it was awesome. Like the kids just played, and they colored, and they were doing like flashcards with this lady, and it was just our son was playing with Legos with some other kid. It was really fantastic. So that's a really cool benefit that is like, it's basically like a community hall, so you don't have to go all the way over to Bay Lake.
How great is that?
Cool.
That's very cool.
Sweet. All right, guys, well, we have a couple questions. Are we ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Nice. We're going to start off with something from a longtime friend of the show, Mr. Tim Elbing Jr. He asked if you have
he was at the last Looper Meet. He was at the Looper Meet.
He was. Loved meeting them there. He goes, if you have 150 points at the Polynesian and you buy a small 50 points at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, on the website, are they separately bankable and borrowable?
Yes.
Yes.
So, let's all say it together. So yeah, all of your contracts are individual on the website, and they actually, all of them, even if you have more than one at the same resort. So we actually have 4 contracts because we split up our Grand Floridian thinking someday we'd give it to our kids. So we split it up into 3 portions, and our Saratoga is just 1 because when you buy it resale, you don't have any control over the size. But when you buy direct, you can, this is a little tip for you for estate planning, you can purchase whatever size you want directly. They may not let you purchase below a certain minimum, but they'll allow you to break up your contract into whatever portions you want. And the smaller the contract, the faster it'll sell. There are additional costs with every contract because in most states you have title costs.
Closing fees.
Yes, exactly. So you do have to pay a little bit more for that privilege, but you probably, most definitely, will be able to make it up on the back end when you sell. And even more importantly, if you need to sell, because obviously most of us don't sell willingly, like if you feel that like now's the time to sell and you really need to have cash more than you need to have DVC, then the speed at which you can sell that contract matters. And a 30-point contract is going to go in like 5 seconds versus a 200-point. Yeah. So.
Sorry, guys, I went blank. The hurricane you talked about, we're getting the tip of the spear storms right here, right now.
Oh, my.
Fun.
Major thunder strikes and rain is loud on the roof right now. So.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Woohoo. So if you lose
stay
me,
safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yes.
if you lose me, it wasn't that I got mad. Right. I will point out one more thing on this question, though. You can put them where they bank and borrow in one account because they have to be done separately. The only way you can have them on one is transfer points, but really there's no advantage that I know of in nowadays to transfer points into one account from another because there's all kinds of stipulations and
you can only do it once a year, Brad, right? You could only
exactly once a year, transfer once. And then it's locked, and then they're just with the ease of using, because you're still going to be stuck with a 7-month window, whether you transferred points or not. It's still they're 2 different they're points from 2 different resorts. If you have 2 different resorts, you're still stuck with 7 months, no matter if you've transferred points or not. So it's easier to just call in and say use 50 of this and use 20 of that, and then to transfer. But you can transfer, but there's no real.
Right. And it's really easy online. You basically click a box and it tells you exactly how many you have left on each contract and what their rules are. And it's not, I think it used to be more complicated.
It was. It was much. It was a mess. It was a mess. You had to call in the past if you wanted to bank and borrow, but now, or do multiple. You couldn't do multiple accounts and book online. You had to call in.
And even when you go to actually make a reservation, I know he's asking about banking and borrowing, but just for some people that don't know, like when you're on the website, you're clicking. You actually will click which contract to take the points from. So I mean, it'll allow you if you're not in that 7-month window, and then you'll click submit, and it'll say error, but it'll show you all your contracts to take from which contracts to take the points from. So.
Right, like if I make one at the Grand Floridian and it's a 100-some point reservation, I have to click every single one of my contracts. So I have to like select each one individually. So it's not like I just click Grand Floridian and it magically happens.
There you go.
Which brings up a good point. Like typically the recommendation is to try to simplify when you're buying and get the same use year, and it's so much easier. And it is easier mentally to keep track of still. But I wonder if technology is going to make that recommendation less important. You know what I mean? Like if it's easier online to keep track of everything and you don't need to call member services every time, maybe it's not quite as important to make sure the users match.
Well, with my unmatching use years, I book all the time online with that. I don't have to call in to do it. So but it's not that it's harder. It's just it's confusing. So you can get lost if you don't understand how they work when they're different. you can suddenly you get confused. Wait a minute, I thought I had points available. No, you don't on the other contract. And
not until February.
You can do
right.
This kind of leads into this kind of leads into our next question.
Yeah, it does.
It goes out. Good afternoon, Loopers. I recently purchased a 70-point contract at the Grand Floridian and realized 70 points isn't enough. I am now looking forward to purchase at least 50 additional points, but was wondering if buying at a different home resort would be an issue. Would you recommend purchasing more Grand Floridian or something like the Polynesian? And if I purchased at a different home resort, would the use year matter? And thanks, that's the Hooked DVC member, Skylar. So thank you, Skylar, for the question. All right, what do you guys think?
First of all, adonitis is real. It's a real disease.
Yeah, absolutely.
And after you buy into DVC, you have adonitis, and it's just a matter.
And there's nothing wrong with it. Don't look for a cure. It's great.
Right. Just buy more points.
You're with friends.
Buy more.
Everybody has it. It's cool. So, who wants to take a stab? I'm willing.
I would say the very first thing, the first part of it, it's the same thing we've talked about before. If your desire is stay at Grand Floridian, and that's really your favorite resort, you bought there because that's the resort you most want to stay at. You may want to try other places, but Grand Floridian is your main choice. Then buy Grand Floridian points because they're limited. They're harder to get at the 11-month after the 11-month window, at getting down to the 7-month window. If you have separate resorts, you're going to face the 7-month window every single time you try to use both sets of points.
Yep.
And the reason you're buying more points is so you can use both sets of points. So you're going to, unless you're cool with just going whatever's open at 7 months, buy the same resort.
And I would say if you're going to buy a second resort, you should buy resale. And so don't buy poly.
Mm-hmm.
So save your money.
I would go buy resale Grand Floridian points. I mean, Emily, you're Grand Floridian. First of all, this Skylar has bought at Grand Floridian already. So it means they liked it to begin with. All right. Mm-hmm. Grand Floridian is hard to get into. Emily, you're an owner there.
Right.
I've looked, and it's hard to get in. It doesn't matter what season it is because it's not a huge place. And it's extremely popular, great location. You're already halfway there. Personally, I would just go for the Grand Floridian, but on the resale market. You're going to get the Disney perks, you know what I'm saying? Because you bought directly from Disney. And for me, like, unless the home the use year is unless you're getting like a huge bargain, like on like a use year, if you could match them up, I always say match them up. It's just easier.
I agree.
But I'm saying, if your use year is February and then your resale one is, May or whatever it is. I don't know. We rambled about a few months ago what they are, but and it's to be like $20 a point cheaper. Yeah, maybe you want to and you're going to buy another 70 or 100 points. Yeah, maybe you want to that would make a big deal because you're going to be getting those points at such a discounted rate. But if that's not the case, try to match them up if possible. And if you're buying Grand Floridian, you're looking at least buying another 70 or 100 points or 100 something points. Those aren't super small contracts, so they're not going to go as quick. So they should be out there for a little bit for you to find. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like you're looking for like a 30 or a 50 point contract, which the minute they go out there, somebody's calling up and put an offer on them. So I would go Grand Floridian because it's such a hard place to get into. I think it's always going to be a hard place to get into. And I think if you chose it, that means you liked it. So and you're not dealing with those two separate 7-month windows.
And the reality is, you can still go to any resort you want at the 7-month window, just like you did before. You can go anywhere with those points, but at least this way you've opened up the maximum. And something else to add to that, something that Emily brought up when we talked about a similar thing a while back, and it was perfect. Emily and I suffer from the same disease where basically we're always borrowing next year's points because we have not learned to live within our means. We haven't. So here's the thing: if you only have 70 points, right, and you're only going to add 50 more, let's just be straight honest here. That's 120 points. That's not going to get a lot accomplished. So probably this person, Skylar here, is looking at this thinking in terms of, well, we're going with the minimum amount of points that we think we'll use, which means you're going to be maxing out every time. So if you have split resorts, then and the 7-month window, you're gonna run into even more problems. So I would just, I'm sorry, the use years. If you had split use years, then you're gonna always be running into, I'm out of those points, but I have those points, but I've already borrowed from next year on those points.
I'm getting a headache already just by listening to this. And it's
right.
not even
Well, no, Brad, you're totally right, because even with our Grand points, to get a 1-bedroom at the Grand Floridian, it's like pretty much a minimum of $250 a week. And that's pretty much what we would get. We can't really, we've done studios now twice, and every time my husband looks like, I never want to go there again. And then as soon as he goes in a 1-bedroom, he's like, this is the best place on earth. And so I recognize that I just can't put him in a studio anymore, or 3 children under the age of 5. So, the thing is, if you are going to be trying to book something like a $250 reservation or 250 point reservation every time, and maybe you won't. It sounds like by the amount of points you have, you won't. Regardless, when you go to combine them, my advice to you, if you do decide to save money and get split use years, so if it's not a money question, get the same use year. Absolutely. If you can get the discount, like Joe said, if you're getting a killer discount to get a different use year, go for it. But reserve your weekends first with your 11-month home resort advantage on those Grand Floridian, whichever contract has the longest. Actually, wait, if they're both at the same resort, they're getting the 11-month on the same day.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I'm just, ignore everything I just said.
Yeah. It's just a matter if you have enough points.
Right, exactly.
Well, you guys made that so that I even understood that one. That's amazing. I appreciate that. That makes complete sense to me.
So we're 50-50. We gave Joe a headache and cleared things up.
So we're not getting fired yet. So we're still.
Yeah, I would say though, one thing I would say is if you're going to buy another resort other than Grand, you should buy something cheap. So you should buy, you could get Poly, but if you're buying 50 points. Again, unless you're buying another 70 points or something, you're not going to be able to get a week at a studio at Poly. So if you really want home advantage at another resort, go for it. But otherwise, get something that's at the lower maintenance dues, like Saratoga or Old Key West, where they have a large.
You can get 100 and something points for a product price of 50 at the Poly. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
exactly. But be careful. And not to keep kind of rabbit trailing this, but be careful. The cheapest points out there you're going to find are consistently Hilton Head and Vero Beach, but their dues every year are sky high. So you got to look at both.
Unless you really want to stay at Hilton Head or Vero, because they have huge demand in the summer.
Yes, they do.
Huge demand, but. Yeah,
Skylar, I hope he really did not confuse you.
Write us again, Skylar. We just brought up more questions.
I think we've talked about this before, but the key is to remember that the maintenance fees are 80% of your cost over the life of the contract, at least 80%. So what you're really buying is the maintenance fees, and the upfront stuff is just sort of upfront stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
All right,
you
Tim.
were saying, Rob.
I was getting ready to ask Tim, cue the cheesy romantic music, my friend.
Okay.
It's time for the DVC question
Well, hello.
for our roundtable.
I was saying Scuttle, in case you couldn't tell.
What? Roundtable members, and thank goodness Rebecca is not here. What is your favorite DVC resort for couples?
Well, hello.
Ooh.
Brad.
Hello, baby. All right. You know what? I've never been there.
My nightmares.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I've been eating cashews, so I can't do it very good. So.
Well, I do like cashews. So.
I think it's weird because what do I think would be the best one for couples, or what have I experienced? Because I have not had the chance yet to stay at the Grand Floridian. So I would think that romantically Grand Floridian would be right up there. Just on the times that I've been over there and visited, it's just a very elegant and snooty patooty. I mean, no.
You mean perfect in every way? I know.
Yes, perfect in every way. But honestly, based on where we personally like to stay, my wife and I, where we would think to go by ourselves without the kids, we love Animal Kingdom. But part of it's because we're just very much into the park. We love the animals. We love to sit out on the balcony and look out on the savannah and see the giraffes and see the elephants and see that. We just love that. So, and it's so set away from everything. Mm-hmm. And their dining options there are phenomenal. So that's probably not the normal, but I'm not normal, so that works.
No, I like it.
All right, Emily, you're next. We'll leave the actual couples to Joe.
Right.
The last one to Joe.
Sure.
Emily, what do you think?
Well, so I think none of us are normal here, Joe. I think that's or Brad. I mean,
it's required. There was a test.
I think Bob and Tim told us that if we were normal, we weren't allowed on the road. But I can't remember.
You can't upstage us. That's the problem. That's why. Right.
Brad is so right on so many levels. So before this last trip, I would have said Polynesian, but because it's just got that sort of silky feeling the whole time, like the beautiful music and the tiki torches, and you can go to the luau or Trader Sam's, or there's just so many options for sort of this dim light and gorgeous tropical foliage. But after our last trip, where my husband was like, I'm never staying there again, obviously it's not his dream. So out of respect for him, I will choose another romantic destination. And I think, Brad, my first thought then was Animal Kingdom, because you have this you look out the windows, and I think somebody's doing lottery tickets in the background. You look out the windows and you see animals walking by, and Victoria Falls, I think, is the one bar that's just so beautiful to just sit at. And then they have the drum parade that goes through the lobby, and the pools are all amazing. And there's enough space at Animal Kingdom that you don't feel like you're overrun with children everywhere you go. And so I think Animal Kingdom is a great choice, but this is my way of picking three things.
There you go.
I love Grand Floridian, but it's so polished that I feel like it's less romantic, if that makes any sense. I really enjoy it with my whole family. And I think Matt would probably pick that as his favorite destination because of Misner's. But I think what I would pick is Boardwalk. And the reason for that is because of the location. And it's got a lot of adult nightlife. So you can go down to Jelly Rolls, or
just
you can
strolling on the boardwalk without even going in anywhere is
right. You can walk to the World Showcase. You could go see the Star Wars fireworks. I feel like those are the two more. Right, exactly. So there's a lot of, I feel like that's the grown-up area of, obviously there's plenty of things for adults to do everywhere, but I feel like that's really the hub of adult Disney. And so I would probably pick Boardwalk because it's just got that sort of adult energy.
All right. So Joe, since Emily has done everything in her power to ruin your trip to the Polynesian,
I know, right?
Just kidding, Joe.
Month.
I love it.
Now that you've completely changed what's good for couples, what do you think now?
And since Emily named almost every resort, I'm actually going to throw a curveball here. I'm going to say the question was, what is your favorite DVC resort for couples? I'm going to say Disney's Hilton Head Island Resort.
Ooh, good choice.
Very
sure.
Nice.
And the reason
the
reason why is number one. First of all, I have not been to either Vera or Alani yet, so I don't have an opinion on those. However, my wife and I were married in Hilton Head almost 3 years ago, and the reason why I'm going to say is we did stay there once. We stayed in a 2-bedroom. It was a last minute use of points before they expired. So actually, my wife, me, and my mother-in-law went, and my mother-in-law was awesome. I actually love my mother-in-law. And we went there over the winter time just for 1 or 2 nights. And the reason why I love Hilton Head or Disney's Hilton Head Island Resorts, it's not a big resort. There's not, for couples, there's not a ton. It's very family-oriented, but there's not a ton of you're not getting the theme parks with the strollers everywhere and stuff. If you're there for couples, it's going to be a lot quieter. Hilton Head as a whole is a very family-friendly place, but still is quiet. It's got fantastic golf courses. The Palmetto Dunes section of the island where this resort is beautiful. It's right in the center I call it the foot because Hilton Head is shaped like a foot. The beach house is great. So what you do is if you don't want to drive from the actual resort, because the resort's on the bay, like in like a bay area inside. Like it's not on the ocean. It's like a 3-minute drive, and it will shuttle you to their Disney's beach house. They have a great pool there. They got a nice little snack bar there and a private access to the beach. And the beaches are fantastic in Hilton Head. Some of our favorite restaurants are in Hilton Head. The food is great. You've got Caligny Plaza, which is not too far away. You can walk around. There's some nice little bars and stuff like that. There's Salty Dog area in Sea Pines. There's a couple other larger hotels at the Marriott. There's the Westin over in Port Royal section. That's where we got married. They got some nice little bars and restaurants in there. Hilton Head is an amazing place. So I kind of like went a little off the track here, where I didn't pick a Disney World property, but I think overall so far, like I said, we're hoping to go to Aulani next year. We haven't made a chance to go to Vero yet, but we love Hilton Head, and I think for couples, we go there and stay at other properties. We don't just do DVC there. We love it. I think Hilton Head is a great spot. So, yep, Disney's Hilton Head Island Resort would be my top choice for couples for DVC properties.
I think that's a good point, Joe, because on off season, you're not going to get like off season Disney. You're still going to get kids. You're still going to get the international families coming in because their schools are different. Right. So where Hilton Head, you go off season outside of that summer rush, it's got to be a whole different island.
Oh yeah, and it gets a little chilly. It gets a little chilly there, and in the wintertime, it's really not the best beach weather. And don't get me wrong, and I want everybody to understand, listens to the show. When I say we don't want kids around, me and my wife love kids. I love my niece and nephew, but when you want to have like some alone time, trust me, we go to Disney all the time, and we understand there's going to be kids there. But if you just want something that's a little quieter, you're going to get that quiet experience out of Disney property at Hilton, especially in the off season. So don't worry, Joe. None of us with kids even judge you for that comment, because we also would love to be not around children all the time. So we completely relate. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm good. I was going to say, we take 2 trips a year, every year. The one with our kids and the one without them.
Right.
Oh, there you go.
And
I literally just recommended that to a coworker. I was like, you need to do a weekend alone.
Would never miss a family vacation, but we also love our cruise coming up in November without them.
Healthy. It's healthy to spend some time with your partner without your children around, I think. So.
And Joe, you had mentioned Aulani, and honestly, I thought I was really considering Aulani, but kind of where my head went with that was I was thinking, what is your favorite DVC resort for couples? I was thinking more going over and over. Where Aulani, to me, what's the best favorite DVC resort for a honeymoon? Well, you do it once. It feels like Aulani is going to be that for a lot of people. It's going to be a one and done.
Right. One and done, yep.
Yeah, they're going to do it. They're going to love it. And trust me, it's romantic. How can Hawaii not be romantic? It's just incredible. But it's not something you can just keep going back to. My wife would love for that to happen, but she better get back to scratching those lottery tickets she was scratching.
I personally think Aulani, now I've never been there, but I think the one thing Aulani needs to consider, because I don't think they have it, is a luau, an evening luau, because
they actually do now.
Do they have one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I kept reading about that. Like people were like, "Where's the nearest luau?"
Yeah, they had a show that didn't include a luau, but they just last year added one a couple times a week where they do a luau. But to be honest with you, it still sounds like it's a minimalist version of a luau. There is a very good luau at the resort right next door. You just walk to it from Aulani.
Oh, neat. Well, see, that's an opportunity. They're just leaving money on the table there, aren't they now?
They really are.
Has anybody else gone to Spirit of Aloha at the Polynesian?
I have that coming. I have that coming.
Isn't it so wonderful?
It is. You'll love it, Joe. Yeah.
I've been one time, and one of these storms like we're having right now hit there.
Oh.
They wouldn't even allow us to walk from the lobby to where you dine because of the strikes that were going on. And eventually they said, okay, we're going to go ahead and do it. We're like, all right. And then they sat us down, and they gave us our food, and they started feeding us. And then they said, oh, by the way, there will be no show tonight.
What? Well, Joe, or not Joe. I keep calling you Joe. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I have a video of the cool fire dancer guy, and I can send it to you. It'll make you.
I got to see him on a training trip. I went out there, so I didn't get to go to the whole luau, but I got to see him. He was amazing. But really nice. So we were very, they gave us, it was one of those things where we're going to give you back all of your, because we used the dining plan at the time. and we're going to give you back all your points and blah, 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 or half your points, whatever. And it was like, well, it was the night before we were leaving. So it was like, oh, thanks, but no thanks.
Right.
Wow.
Use those as snap credits, can I?
Here's one last tip. When I booked the luau for this coming trip, because that's one like that and Hoop to Do, you kind of prepay. If you have Tables in Wonderland, guys out there, it only applies to the evening show.
Right.
So if you're gonna do the earlier show, your Tables in Wonderland discount will not apply to the earlier show. It only applies to the later show. So just keep that in the back of your mind. That 20%, even though they're adding a tip onto it, when the tickets are expensive, it does make a little bit of a difference. So. And
keep in mind, there is a little trick to that. You pay when you book it. You pay up front, like the full amount, because they do charge your card, I think, for it. But then when you go there, I don't know the magic that they do, but somehow you show them your card. Yeah, they credit back that. Yeah. So that's just something.
That's what they did on ours.
Yeah,
so
Tim, trying to figure out how the discount works.
Tim, any other rabbit trails? We want to talk spandex versus snow spandex?
Well, we can. What do you prefer, Brad? What do you
I had
wear?
A really good one for you guys. Iceland. Apparently, out of Cleveland, they're going to start flying cheap direct flights to Iceland. So
wow,
you can put that on your romantic list. I feel like everybody at my work is now planning an Iceland trip for next year. Yeah,
exactly.
Including me mentally.
That's the name of the airline. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Right. Yeah,
it is. It's the name of the airline.
The crazy part is I
WOW.
heard that they're doing $100 flights. I don't know if that's true.
I did hear that as well.
That's nuts.
True. Yeah.
It's like
they're strapping you on the wings if it's $100.
Bob, you're not going anywhere until you ride the motorcycle down here to Daytona for Bike Week. So
I got to do that. I'm telling you, I got to do that. I really do. I got to get down there for that. And real quick, if you can, Joe, ask the whoever's seating you to put you at the end of the waiter or waitress's route, because I did that one time. I didn't ask for it. I just happened to be seated at the end of the route. And what they do is they walk their mixed drinks around, and if people don't want the mixed drink, they leave it at your table because they can't take it back.
Ooh.
Oh.
And I had
nice.
way too many mixed drinks.
Where does this say, Rebecca?
You don't remember the show, but you enjoyed it.
I remember half of the show. So half of it I remember. Don't know how I got back to the room. But yeah. So there you go.
By the
Tim.
way, DVC related, really quick. On the cruise, if you go to the DVC meetup, they have mixed drinks there. And they do pour them onto platters that they carry around to give to the DVC members. And everything that's not drunk, which apparently was like 20 drinks, they beg you to drink on the way out. And so go to the meetup and then bring a water bottle. Because at the end of the night, they'll be shoving drinks at you. And you will leave double-fisted with 2 glasses of wine that you've poured 2 other glasses of wine into. So you have a whole bottle of, not that this happened to me, but theoretically, you could have walked out. I saw somebody walk out with a full bottle of wine in their glasses at the
Just don't mix those up with the soap dispenser that you drank, because that could be a whole other kind of.
I don't know, what is that note? What is that? That aroma. It's different.
That song "Tiny Bubbles" is a whole different song at that point. So.
Okay, Bob, you can cut us off now. It's fine.
Tim,
yes, Bob.
That is all I've got.
Awesome. Everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott. I'd like to go around the horn and find where you can find all these people. Brad, where can people find you at?
You can find me at on Facebook at FTJ by Brad, and Papa Mouse 1 on Twitter. And and in Disneyland, running the half marathon next weekend.
Nice. Good luck on that.
Yeah, best of luck.
Good luck.
Very excited.
Kill it. Hey, Joe, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Joe Quiet. You can also find me over at the Mickey Dudes podcast.
Cool. Emily?
So you can find me here, obviously, at ResortLoop.com. You can find me at Looper Nation Live. You can find me at the Resort Loop Rocketeers. You can find me at Disney Lounging, which is still in sort of its infancy. But please send in your reviews of any lounges that you've gone to that you loved. And hang out there with Tara Renee. And you can also find me hanging out at the bar waiting for Rebecca Toon. And with a full glass of tequila, because she's with her college-bound kids. So, and to all the college parents out there suffering right now, just remember, this was the end goal, and hopefully they won't move home afterwards. That's all I got for you.
That's the end goal. Not having to move back is the end goal.
Right.
Oh, and everybody, you can find me over at Resort Loop at the Facebook page and the website, ResortLoop.com.
Like us on Facebook, rate us on iTunes, subscribe to the show, and what else should folks do, Tim?
Everyone, please go out there and share the Gateway to the Magic.
See you, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the show, but now you want to share your love of Disney, right? Unfortunately, a lot of our friends, family, and coworkers just don't share the same enthusiasm we do for all things Disney. Well, now MyDizMatch.com has made it even easier with the all-new MyDizMatch apps for iOS and Android devices. Just download the MyDizMatch app and connect with new Disney friends today. And now, for a limited time, you'll get your first month of full membership free just for signing up. Look for the new MyDizMatch apps on iTunes and Google Play and start connecting with real Disney friends today.